News in 5.
News and developments making headlines around the world in 5 minutes.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.
Good day. This is World News in 5 here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declared that he has complete U.S. support for the Jewish state's ongoing ground offensive in Gaza against Hamas militants, and at the same time, the two countries remain resolute against growing international calls for a ceasefire to halt the Israel-Hamas war. At a re-election campaign event in the United States, President Joe Biden said Netanyahu has got a tough decision to make, noting that this is the most conservative government in Israel's history and doesn't want a two-state solution with side-by-side independent Israeli and Palestinian governments. The U.S. leader said Israel is starting to lose support around the world and Netanyahu has to strengthen and change the Israeli government to find a long-term solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Biden has proposed what the Western-backed Palestinian Authority under President Mahmoud Abbas take control of Gaza and the Israeli-occupied West Bank after the war. But Netanyahu said Gaza will be neither Hamas stand nor Fatah stand. Fatah is Abbas's faction of Palestinians. Netanyahu's statement declaring continued U.S. support came as the United Nations General Assembly was set to hold an emergency meeting to debate a draft resolution demanding an immediate humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza, which the U.S. and Israel oppose.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.
In other news overseas, newly declassified U.S. intelligence indicates Russia has suffered from some staggering losses as a result of its nearly 2-year-old invasion of Ukraine, including major setbacks during its latest offensive. The assessment, parts of which were shared with VOA, estimates more than 13,000 Russian forces have been killed or wounded since Moscow launched its October offensive along the Avdiivka-Novopavlivka axis in eastern Ukraine. U.S. intelligence also believes Ukraine's military has destroyed or immobilized more than 220 Russian combat vehicles, the equivalent of 6 battalions worth of vehicles. The decision to declassify the latest intelligence comes as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is in Washington visiting with U.S. lawmakers and with U.S. President Joe Biden. During a speech at the National Defense University in Washington on Monday, Zelensky pleaded with U.S. lawmakers not to betray Ukraine's forces and provide more weapons and support, warning Moscow sees Ukraine as just a stepping stone.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.
And for our Philippine Embassy and Consulate news, Philippine Ambassador to Albania Neil Imperial and Albanian President Bajram Begaj agreed to pursue closer political, economic, and cultural cooperation during their meeting after Ambassador Imperial presented his letter of credence and letter of recall of his predecessor to President Begaj. Ambassador Imperial was accompanied by Deputy Chief of Mission Nina Cainglet, Minister Donna Celeste Feliciano Gatmaytan, and Philippine Consul Loritan Prespa. Ambassador Imperial welcomed President Bagaj's call for closer economic and trade exchanges, especially with the rapid growth of Albania's tourism and construction sectors. He expressed appreciation for the Albanian business delegation, which visited the Philippines in November to explore trade and investment opportunities. He also shared that every Filipino is aware of Albania as the 19th century Filipino epic poem Florante and Laura, which is set in the Kingdom of Albania, is required reading for Filipino high school students. President Begaj expressed hope that the Filipino literary classic would be translated into Albanian so that Albanian students could also learn the epic poem. During his visit to Tirana, Ambassador Imperial also met officials from the Ministry for Europe and Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Finance and Economy, Ministry of State and Chief Negotiator, Ministry of State for Entrepreneurship and Business Climate, and the Tirana Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Ambassador Imperial is based at the Philippine Embassy in Rome and is accredited as a non-resident ambassador to Albania, Malta, and San Marino. He is also the permanent representative to the UN Rome-based agencies, namely the Food and Agriculture Organization, the World Food Programme, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, International Development Law Organization, and the International Center for the Study of the Preservation and Restoration of Cultural Property. The Philippines and Albania mark 35 years of diplomatic relations last year.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.
And that concludes today's edition of World News in 5. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this has been Steph Vicente. Good day and stay safe, everyone.
World News in 5.
News and developments making headlines around the world in 5 minutes.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.